So you just brought home a gorgeous new wool rug. You're loving it, and then you start to notice it. Little bits of fluff everywhere. You start to wonder, is my beautiful new rug falling apart? Let's get into it. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You see those little woolly bits gathering around the edges, maybe clinging to your socks or even making their way onto the couch. It's totally normal to think, uh-oh, is something wrong here? But I want you to take a deep breath because here's the good news. This is called shedding, and believe it or not, it's a completely normal part of a wool rug's life. It is absolutely not a sign that you got a dud. To really get why this happens, we have to look at the wool itself. See, sheddings isn't a bug, it's actually a feature, and it's directly tied to the incredible story of this natural material. The best way to think about it is that your new rug is just settling in. It's getting used to its new home, and as it does, some of those shorter, looser fibers that got trapped during the weaving process start to break free. It's just part of it finding its place. And here's where it gets kind of cool. If you were to look at a wool fiber under a microscope, you'd see it's not smooth at all. It's actually covered in these tiny, overlapping scales. Now, these scales are amazing. They're what make wool so durable and stain resistant. But they also mean that some of those shorter fibers are just naturally going to work themselves loose over time. This really flips the script on how to think about shedding. Instead of it being an annoyance, you can actually see it as a sign of authenticity. It's a hallmark of a handmade item, where every single fiber was put in place by a skilled artisan. It's a little reminder of the craftsmanship that went into it. Okay, so does this mean every single wool rug is destined to become a fluff machine? Well, not exactly. It turns out there are a few key things that determine just how much shedding you're going to see. Let's break it down. First, you've got the weaving technique. Rugs with looser knots will shed more than those with super tight ones. Then there's the age. No surprise, a brand new rug is going to shed way more in its first few months. Of course, where you put it makes a huge difference. A rug in a busy hallway, it's going to shed more than one tucked away in a quiet bedroom. And finally, the type of wool matters. Coarser wools tend to let go of more fibers than finer ones. So when you put it all together, what do you get? Well, if you have a brand new rug made from a coarser wool, and you've placed it smack dab in the middle of a high traffic zone, you've basically created the perfect storm for shedding, especially right at the beginning. Now that we know why it's happening, let's talk about what we can actually do about it. The great news is you don't have to just live in a sea of fluff. With a little bit of know-how, you can manage it super easily. Here are the top 4 tips. First, regular, gentle vacuuming is your best friend. Use a low suction setting so you're not yanking the fibers out. Second, rotate your rug every few months. This just helps it wear more evenly. Now, number 3 is a big one. Do not use harsh tools or take the rug outside to beat it, like in the old movies. I know it seems satisfying, but it actually damages the fibers and makes shedding even worse. And finally, a pro cleaning every year or 2 will do wonders. So let's just boil it down. Gentle vacuuming and regular rotation, that's a big yes. Beating the rug or going at it with some aggressive brush, that's a definite no. It really is all about that gentle, consistent care. Okay, I'm sure you've still got a few questions buzzing around, so let's just dive in and tackle some of the most common ones I hear. This is the number one concern, right? Does all this fluff mean I wasted my money on a cheap, badly made rug? And the answer is a big, firm no. Shedding is just a normal trait of wool. Real quality comes from things like the skill of the weaver, the quality of the dyes, and where the wool came from, not from whether it sheds a bit at the start of its life. All right, makes sense. But the million-dollar question is, when does it stop? How long do I have to deal with these little fluff balls? For most rugs, you'll see a really big drop in shedding after about 6 to 12 months. Patience is your friend here. As the rug settles and all those initial loose fibers are gently vacuumed away, you'll notice it less and less until it's barely a thing. And the last big question, is there some kind of magic button? Can I just make the shedding stop completely? Well, because it's just a natural part of what wool is, you can't really stop it 100%. But that's okay. With the kind of gentle care we've been talking about, you can reduce it so much that it becomes a complete non-issue. So what are the big things to remember? 1, shedding is totally normal and it's temporary. 2, it's all because of the cool, natural structure of wool. 3, things like the rug's age and where you put it will affect how much you see. 4, gentle vacuuming and rotation are your secret weapons. And maybe the most important takeaway of all, it is not a sign of a bad rug. In the end, it's really all about perspective. Like one of our sources says, the true magic of these rugs isn't just in the material, but in their incredible cultural history and beautiful designs. And really, when you think about it that way, a little bit of fluff seems totally worth it, doesn't it?